like this.
Okay, guys, hello and welcome. We have another best out of five show match on the go. We do have some great players, and we have a new opponent for Ayah this time. And his opponent today is going to be Player. I do think this should be quite interesting. Alongside myself, Chicks, we have Lorenzo. Uh,
Yes,
how's it going, Lorenzo?
going pretty well. Just
Going good.
the
That's
usual stuff.
That's good to hear. So we're going to be casting this best out of five as usual. We're going to have the same rules, same civilization rules, and here we go. It is a $125 cash prize. So $100 goes to the winner and $25 for the loser. Now we do have just one rule in this show match, and that's you can't play the winning god twice in a row. Other than that, no vetoes, no nothing. As for Highland, they can play it only if both agree. So it looked like that both did not agree to play on Highland, so we will be starting another match. Keep in mind, this is no patch. So this is the original ESO patch. And this time we have Ouranos versus Zeus. Player playing Zeus, of course, at the top of the match. And Ayah at the bottom of the match playing Ouranos here on Marsh. So, Lorenzo, you're probably familiar. I know you're familiar with Player and Ayah. We casted Ayah last week. What can you tell us about
Yeah,
Player and what kind of functionality or different kind of strategies could we expect here on this map?
based on the matchup, Zeus against Ouranos, or
Yeah, tell us a little bit about Zeus versus Ouranos, and then maybe perhaps you can tell us a little bit
on
about
this map it's pretty decent
right.
because you have a lot of hunts, so you're not really bottlenecked by any food problems, which you are on other maps. So I don't know why he asks, by the way, if he's there. It seems really weird. You should be asking if he's actually playing the game, even though he agreed on and everything, but we will never know what goes on in the minds of AOT players.
Right.
Maybe there was some lag, I wasn't paying attention. Anyway, usually your bottleneck by resources is Zeus against Ouranos, because Ouranos can go 355 or 430 on pretty much every map, whereas Zeus pretty much always wants to get hunting gods and some hunt.
Okay.
Even though they can up really quickly, the issue is that sometimes there's just not enough food to do that properly. Right? You need to do all
Okay.
these weird transitions, like kill a bunch of pigs early, so you have to fast it up or get your town center, all to up quickly, and then you do up quickly, and your economy is just really bad. Like, what's the point of upping quickly, you know? So in
Okay.
this situation, that's not the case. Zeus has sufficient food.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's easy though. Uh, but if I were to put money on a civilization, so disregarding base, I would say that Zeus has an advantage here over Ouranos, but doesn't mean that it's still quite close. It's not like, oh, Ouranos can't win or whatever.
Okay. Um, so that's one thing that you could say. What's additional strategies, specific strategies, can we expect on this map? Say, for example, the Zeus player. Could we expect Athena, or is it always going to be Centaur rating on a map like this?
The problem with playing no patch is that Shockwave has almost no cooldown,
Right.
and it's still really, really strong. So if you go Athena, even though you can do that, he can counter Athena with Shockwave, and then he has to back. So it's just not that viable on no patch. Whereas you can actually, if you're playing patch, you can do that, but we're not playing on patch. So I don't think we're going to see Athena. I don't think that would be good. So because it's
Okay.
no patch, I think his only option is grabbing. Well, no, actually, that's not true. I'm lying. There's two things he can do. So I think it's always going to be Hermes.
Okay.
Uh, Athena is possible in some situations, but it's unnecessarily risky. Like it's not impossible to win with Athena. It's just there's no reason to do it on no patch. It's
Right.
just inferior. I don't know if player feels the same way though. He may have a different opinion and go Athena. I guess we will see in a moment.
Right.
But what you can do is you can kind of go 1-1-1 with centaurs, and we see Hermes. That's great. So that is one thing you can do, or you can grab the second TC and still kind of go into the 1-1-1, but do it a little bit slower because obviously you have the second TC for added economy. Those
So
are pretty much your options.
So the second TC is going to come right after classical age, or are we going to be expecting, say, 2, 3 centaurs, some hippican? You usually mix the hippican with centaurs, right? Or is it just 2, 3 centaurs straight to second TC? Like how soon after? What is the variation there? I do see quite a few villagers on wood, and
Yeah,
only 5
it's a
on
bit
food.
weird.
So and only 2
To be
on gold. So
honest,
I'm not assuming any hippican anytime soon.
no, no, it's going to be centaurs. You can do this, but again, it's on no patch, so he has shockwaves for the centaurs, so it's just not that good. It's
Right.
better to boom.
Okay.
Also, Valor is stronger on no patch as well. What he should do is, to be honest, I would have just liked to see him grab another town center
Right.
instead of, getting the instant Jason and the instant Odysseus and the instant Centaur stuff, because he can do all of that, but he can do all of that after he grabs second TC. It just doesn't seem to be.
I get
To be
you.
fair, his hunt is on the front though. If he wants to defend his hunt, then this is better. But I don't know what's superior, to be honest. Like, I legitimately don't have a clue, because if he does this strategy, he sacrifices the economy by not getting the second town center immediately.
Right.
But he does keep the hunt. Whereas if he would go for the second TC for more economy, he would lose the hunt. So it kind of equals out in that sense. I don't know what's superior, to be honest. My gut feeling says TC because it's safer. But yeah, who knows?
Okay. It does seem like Ayah is snatching some relics here. There are definitely some nice relics on this map, as usual. Marsh does give out those relics. We do see another one here, increased tower attack. That's also very vital um, relic. And there is a shockwave. So that shockwave only got the one centaur, right?
Yeah, they are useless balls, basically.
Interesting. So, um, is shockwave worth it for one centaur? Is that
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you should use them as balls. That's how you should use them. Because the stun range is, I mean, the stun duration after the units land, so after they've been airborne by the shockwave, it's really long on no patch. So it's a guaranteed kill. It's not like the Centaur is going to get away with like a few HP and, you wonder if you
right?
wasted it. You're pretty much always going to get the Centaur.
It's really hard to kill the Atlantean villagers with just one centaur. I think you would need to raid with at least 3, right?
I think the special uh, on no patch is 5 Centaurs, 5 Centaur specials for one citizen. I think, I'm not sure, don't quote me on that, but
Interesting. I know for regular villager it's 2. It might be 3 for a citizen. I guess we'll find out in this game here what it is precisely. Okay, it does seem like it is 5 because we did see one special, and it looked like 1/5 of the hit points. So you seem to be right there.
I think so. I'm not sure.
Right.
Probably.
So I already going for a second TC. A bit early for an Ouranos to go second TC this early. What'd you say?
He's being a bit,
Defensive.
do I want to say presumptuous? I don't know. Like, he's assuming that there's no pressure coming after it without having enough scouting information. But
But
here we have the pressure that's coming up.
ah,
Because like player doesn't have to, grab a TC after this. That's the normal response, but he doesn't have to. And so I was just kind of assuming he would.
right.
It's just not as aggressive as I would have liked to be, though. Also, there's no toxicity. You need the toxicity as well. because you need to have the 1-1-1. We can't have just the 1-1 with centaurs. It's not enough.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
If he can't do any, because he's supposed to do a lot of damage now. Because I went with a super fast DC and kind of skimped on military production, but he's not getting damage done.
So you
It's
think
just really
that
bad.
Toxties is absolutely essential?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's absolutely essential. Because even though the Turma do really well against them,
Right.
like it's not that easy to get to them. You can't just casually get to the toxic because you have the Hippicon, the Heroes, and the Hoplites, which are bonus damage against Turma. You have all of those in front, obviously. And then with the Toxicity, you can focus fire on the heroes. And there is a situation, it doesn't occur often at high level play.
Ouch! Look at
I don't
this.
know what these centaurs is really weird pathing. There's no reason for him to go there because at
Yeah.
first I thought maybe he walled something off and the units kind of defaulted
Right.
towards taking the only available path, but there's nothing walled. Like I don't know why he clicked. Like,
That was a bit unlucky though. Ayah sent some units there and blocked his centaurs as his centaurs was trying to escape. So,
yeah,
uh,
but they went through the TP. You would never do that. You would shift click them around the edges of place. You would never just
right,
right
yeah,
click and go. I don't know. It's really weird.
I could see that as a mistake. So, player now finally going for a second TC. So, can you tell me a little bit about player as a player? No pun intended. We saw Aya play against Moore last week. Would you consider player, you know, upping the heat a little bit for Aya in,
I haven't
in terms of skill level?
really paid attention to the. I don't think the shockwave is good, by the way. I think it's really bad, but I don't know if it's will have any effect.
Um,
Um, Player, yeah. I mean, I haven't really been keeping track
right.
of the AOT scene as far as that exists.
Right on.
Um, so I don't really know whether player is
Okay.
currently good or bad compared to Aya. I do know from when I was playing a little bit myself, I do know that player was pretty decent. It was definitely not a bad player.
This is a very
So
good block here. I don't know if it's going to
yeah,
do
it's pretty
much.
nice. Yeah, it's not quite Age of Empires 2, where you can block.
Right.
I hate it about Age of Empires 2. Like
Oh,
a lot of
definitely.
people love it because it's so iconic to the game.
Yeah.
It's just I feel like it's like I will watch the fighter stream and I think the fighter is a really good and fast and accurate player. But when I see him like quick wall himself in with like 10 palisade gates and walls, like I don't know.
Right.
You know that face that you make when you bite down on like a lemon or like a lime? That's like the face I make when I see that. It's just I just
I
don't
get
think
you.
it's good game design. And in the expansions, like the Forgotten Empires expansions, they actually added the palisade gate to make it even worse. I know it's a bit disgusting, but it's
Um,
okay. It doesn't really matter.
Easily abusable.
Yeah.
But again, not any player can abuse them. You're going to have some skills with the hotkeys and such because there's so many different building types in Age 2, right? Whereas in Age of Mythology, you only have a wall and that's it. You can set that to a hotkey and build it wherever, however. But in Age 2, you got the different types. Palisade, you got Palisade Gate, and then you have Stone Wall, and then you have a Stone Gate. So obviously, that's a four different hotkeys right there. So
Yeah,
to
I know, for example, that the standard hotkey for a palisade is the P. So obviously you have to adjust that because it's on the other side of the keyboard if you're
yeah,
right-handed with your mouse. And then for the stone gate, for example, it's the slash. So you're never going to press it harder, So you have to do some tinkering with hotkeys, and you need to download this mod, which I like. I don't like that concept either. Like downloading mods for games to get an advantage. I feel like it's cheating. Like you may as well download Muppet to be honest. But there's some discussion to be had about that, which we shouldn't get into.
right,
But if you download the grid mods, which shows you like the buildable squares, it's actually super easy to wall yourself in if you just change the hotkeys around. Like it doesn't require any skill whatsoever.
Oh,
I don't know
gotcha.
why
Okay,
people completely fawn over it when they see the Viper do it always. It really doesn't require any skill, like zero.
gotcha.
With the grid not and the hotkeys. But yeah.
Okay, well, I'll keep that in mind next time I play Age 2.
Yeah. Whenever you see someone quick well, just like typing shit like, oh no,
Right.
first kill.
So it looks like these last two centaurs by player might get picked off, or they might escape. They're actually much faster, so they did escape um, without getting any hits off. Uh, I'm looking at the scores here. I guess player is just behind slightly, but I did see him lose quite a few villagers. What are you thinking in the match? What do you think of the match so far here?
So interestingly, when Ayah had the second PC for a while, and
Right,
player was pushing with army of one PC but not getting anything done.
right.
In my mind, I was like, well, this is probably over. Right?
Aya is popped right now, though.
But it's actually not
He's
100% lost. Like I would say this is still very winnable for player, even though I mean he's obviously
oh,
behind.
that shockwave is really devastating.
Yeah, that's quite brutal. So that's I think it's gonna be two centaurs, yeah.
Uh,
Maybe three actually. Yeah, it's
ouch.
three centaurs. Is he up? I don't think he is. No, he's not up. So the clever thing to do now is to just jump Mythic and pop down the Tartarian gates and then go Titan, just to be safe. Like, I don't know what that bolt accomplishes, because he's gonna run there anyway, right? He's not gonna fight. So it doesn't matter that his Inferior bird is there. Like using that bolt, it's not gonna suddenly win you the battle. So
Yeah,
I think he should have saved it.
I could agree with that.
You can always bolt it later. Let's say that that bird finds a gold mine or something, or like the wood line or anything, then he can still bolt it, you know? Doesn't make any sense to use
Right.
bolt there.
So third TC going up now. Player does seem like he still got the classical text for technology there, whereas player does have, or sorry, Aya has the query for gold. Um, that's a huge
He's
boost to
up
economy,
Mythic.
and he's upping mythic. That's
Okay, now I do think it's over, because he's not even going heroic, and he doesn't have enough hoplites to deal with the Tartarian gates. Because especially if he's gonna get masons, let me see, does he have masons? No, he doesn't.
so.
He
So,
should get mason.
so what does player need to do right here, right now, to have a chance at winning this game?
Heroic as soon as possible.
Now, if he goes heroic, wouldn't that mean he makes less army because he spent the food on heroic?
That's true, but you're in a position where there's no really proper winning move. But he needs the reason why he needs to go heroic is because then he can go mythic, obviously. Faster he's in heroic, the faster the option of going mythic, like
Right.
happens. That's the only reason. Like there's nothing particularly in heroic that will help him. Like there's no special upgrades or units or buildings or whatever. It's just he needs to go mythic. That's all.
Interesting building play here by player. I do like that.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
So the four centaurs running through Aya's base didn't accomplish much, and looks like they're on their way back home now. Um,
Now if he just Tartarian gates the gold mine, then the game ends, I think.
you think he will Tartarian Gate there, or perhaps on the right side of the map?
I mean, right side, left side, wherever he Tartarian gates, that's where the army has to go, right? So if he just Tartarian gates there and then goes to the gold, that would also be a viable option. Maybe even better, actually.
Well, we'll have to wait and see where Aya goes, because it seems to me that
I don't know why he's fighting there. It makes no sense. Why would he fight there? He's just drawing aggro from the Tartarian spawns. Yeah, that was very questionable play.
That's interesting. So we have a ceasefire, and I guess heroic then straight mythic.
Yeah, the ceasefire, I completely forgot that existed actually.
Yeah. We do have some
Is he
walls
doing
now.
Titan? Ugh, he made palaces. Disgusting. And fortified DC. That's not how you play, come on. You have to just
Um,
jump to Titan.
well,
Okay.
it's definitely a different play style from, I guess from the, another meta where other Ouranos players would jump straight Titan. I guess I, as a type of Ouranos player who likes to research all the technology, all the economy ups, all the building ups, it does seem like he's got Masons already. He has flood control. He's got Query. So Ayah is not your typical fast Titan type Ouranos player. It seems like he is definitely heavily focused on economy and technology. He's not the all-in type of dude.
Or maybe it doesn't matter.
Well, I suppose the Titan could have been countered with the Underworld, right? So that's probably one of the situations where he didn't want to try building a Titan. And
I mean,
for
not really, because you would just play defensive until the Titan is out. You don't need to have your army on the map.
oh,
So,
I see what you're saying. I suppose in this case, I figures, well, he's got Underworld. Let me try to get Architects, because I see Architects being researched now. Let me get Architects, Masons, and Fortified TC and see what I can do here. It doesn't seem like he's doing much though.
yeah. Because the thing is, as soon as the Titan comes out, like you just go from TC to TC, right? Then you destroy the farms attached to the TC, rather than destroying the TCs because of the splash. So that's like your win condition. And then you go to his only gold map, right? Like there's nothing.
Right. So, is there a clock really when it comes to Zeus versus Ouranos? Is it like is there a countdown? Whereas, as the game progresses, the matchup becomes more and more in favor of the Zeus player, right?
Yeah, that's quite true.
And so,
Especially on no touch, because the Colossus and the favor rate is same. You
well,
just after a round you just lose. 'Cause,
Well, not only
I
that,
mean,
but
yeah,
the units too, right? Obviously, the Zeus units are much superior to the Uranus units.
yeah, that's true. But the main issue is really the Colossus. Like you can't do anything with it
Yeah,
because you have the
Colossus is definitely a
Lampades
problem.
or the Lampades. But the issue is, like, first of all, the Lampades doesn't really destroy them. It just makes them
Hostile,
Chaos units. So
right?
that does take away their upgrades, but doesn't quite destroy the units. Second of all, your favor is quite limited because you also need favor for heroes. You need favor for. Actually, those are only two things you need favor for. But Lampades are 25,
Right. What do you think of the sky passages?
25 favor. I think it's great actually. I think sky passages are not utilized enough.
I've seen them used on Mediterranean. I haven't really seen them used on a map like this though.
The thing is, like, it's unnecessarily fancy though. Like the play should have just been straight to Titan. Like no need for these fancy sky passage things.
Right, because you'd think probably two sky passages and you know a little bit of more resources. You could have probably researched Titan, right?
Oh yeah,
Something like
I would
that.
have skipped out. I would have. What I would have done is I would have skipped out on the palaces and the fortified PC upgrades, and I would have researched Titan Gate, and then I would have gone in fortified PC and maybe a palace.
Right. So we finally have Mythic by player. So this is going to change things up a little bit now.
He can still win. I would still say he's behind, but he can. Like this is completely winnable. Like if he were to win this game, I wouldn't be very surprised. Like it's totally doable.
I'm not sure why player is walking his army through the map like that. That's kind of odd. Um, we do have Ayah picking out villages on the right side of the map on his gold there, so that's an issue.
And he has no gold at all. He has zero gold. So
And the Lampades just picked off that Colossi there. And here goes Titan.
can those? Yeah, they can reach actually. Siege ships on the left. So he has no gold, and there's a Titan coming. So actually, I think it's gonna be over.
Yeah, this definitely is a hard situation to deal with here. The only gold
If
he's
he had
getting is from the
gold,
Bloody Vault.
this would be doable.
Right.
But he doesn't have gold, so it's not doable.
What is the Plenty
Also
Vault
doesn't
equal to? Like 3 vills on gold, or is it a little bit more than that?
a plenty gold.
Yeah, like
I used to know like exactly how much it was, but
I think
is
it's
it like
three.
5 on each without ups? I don't know, like maybe 3 with every up. Yeah, I don't remember. I think it was 10 or 9 villages in total. So,
Right.
but obviously the gathering rates are different for who.
So this game is going to be decided on the gold mine here, basically.
I mean, if he doesn't have gold, then the game ends, right?
Right.
Especially with the Titan coming.
Yeah, and it's not looking all that promising right now.
Yeah, no, he has no gold. If he only had like an extra gold at the back of his base, like this would still be a winnable game. But if he doesn't have gold, then yeah, what can you do?
Right. So that's game number one now. I did like the siege ships there on the left.
Yeah, on the right as well. That was quite well done.
Right on. So we're on to match number two. Can you make me host, by the way, on Boobly? Because I made you host as I had a bug earlier. So we're just waiting for player to come out so we can start match number two.
Yeah, I think they thought that we would rehost him. I think it doesn't work properly with the chat only setting. So
So, yeah, this is. I'm just reading the comments now. Sorry, everyone. I'm just getting the chance to read your comments. And yeah, this is no patch. It is 1-0. I'm not currently streaming on Twitch. Game number two is starting now.
He's
So we are, of course, on match number two now. Um, Ayah is up 1-0, but he cannot play Ouranos again. since you cannot play the winning god twice in a row. So Ayah is going to have to come up with a different god to play against player.
I think it's gonna be set.
Now, player is a very good um, is a very good opponent. That's because player has been around the scene or in the Age of Mythology scene for over 10 years or longer, perhaps, and he's a very competitive um, opponent. I keep wanting to say player, but his name is player, so I don't want to confuse anybody. But no, he's a very good opponent, and he did reach 1850 plus. I believe even higher than that. I could be wrong. Forgive me. It could be 1900 plus. But player is a very good opponent. So don't count him out. There's still a very good
Yes, yes.
chance. There's still a very good chance that player may win this series. We are on to match number 2 coming up right now.
Nice, this is interesting.
So we keep getting Highland. This game really wants to see a Highland match. Personally, I would also like to see a Highland match, but it's too bad that the players don't really like the map. What do
I
you?
think you're the only one who wants to see a highlight match.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, probably.
I think it's a fun match to watch, and probably not to play. Probably not to play, but to watch, I think is pretty interesting. To be quite honest with you, I'm trying to perfect my no patch game, right? And not everybody is going to save on the Highland. So you need to learn how to play on it and look at the strategies, regardless if it's a fair map or not. It's still part of the map pool, you know.
Yeah, it makes sense, I suppose.
And honestly, it's not that bad. Like,
No,
I,
it is. It really is. It's horrible.
I mean, I get it. It's where you base your first dock, but come on, I'm sure we can have a discussion about how bad it really isn't, right? For Ouranos, okay, fine, because you're walking with the citizen, but any other civilization, honestly,
It's not really about where you place your dock, it's the map in general. Because something you can do is you can build a house and then hover over the fog of war.
uh huh,
And if your house disappears in the water, you know that water is there. And like that, you can check how much water there is and how much fish there is. Which is what people have been doing since like 2004. And it's not a new strategy or anything. So you know where the water is. Knowing where the water is isn't an issue.
uh,
I don't feel.
I was always told it's about where you're going to place your first dock. So I guess that's not a problem then.
Yes and no. It's not a problem because of the fish.
Uh
But
huh.
it is a problem because first of all, it's just hard to identify where the water is exactly because you need to send the villager immediately, right? So if you send it to one side, you can just casually go to the other side, and sometimes the water is angled because the water is in a line, right? But it's not always exactly in a line. So,
Gotcha. Okay.
but the main issue is that your villager can get harassed or attacked by bears.
Right.
Plus, the map is so easy to wall, so easy to defend that you're always forced into a late game situation, which is not necessarily a bad thing, don't get me wrong.
Uh huh.
But it does mean that that is 100% what you will get. So if you are Thor, you are forced to Ragnarok with floating weapons.
Right.
If you are Ouranos, you just lose. Um,
Well, I
or
mean,
like I suppose you could rush Titan, but you know, if you are ISIS, you're going to get into the mercenary full trade route thing into Wonder, like, which is like none of these things are necessarily bad. It's just it's very obvious what's going to happen, right? All of these other options with potential timings, which already don't exist that much in Age of Mythology. of the booming nature of the game, right? Because of the tennis advantage being so high.
Right.
But on Highland, it's just 10 times worse, which is typically why people join. And of course, there's stuff like bolt, harassing of the building villager, the bans. Sometimes, even though you kind of know where the water is, you can still get unlucky because you
Right.
don't have time to just kind of like
So,
it's just not a good one.
I understand. So it's a mix. It's not just one thing. It's a mix of things.
Yeah, definitely. It's not
Okay.
just where you dock is random. Like it's a
Right.
conglomeration of things, basically.
Okay. Um, so we do have match number 2 on the way. We do have Mediterranean this time, and Ayah is playing in the blue color as Isis. We have. I think this is the first time we see Ayah playing Isis. I could be wrong, but this should be interesting. And at the top of the match, we have player in red. He's playing Zeus. So I'm looking at the water so far, and it looks pretty good for both of the players. I'm looking at Aya's fish. He's got 6 already in line of sight, and player has also 6. So it looks like 8 or 9. Uh,
Yeah, it's remarkably fair so far from what I can see. Like,
r-
obviously, I don't have full vision, but it seems really fair.
yeah, it seems like a good map. Sometimes on Mediterranean, you could get unlucky,
Oh yeah, definitely.
and so we're happy with this match so far. So what can we? Speaking about strategy, I know there's a few different strategies. Obviously, ISIS could play out here. Um, do you want to walk us through some of the strategies that could be executed in this match here?
Yeah, so first of all, I don't know why he picked ISIS against Zeus, because I think ISIS is favored to lose on every single map against Zeus without exceptions.
You think so?
Uh, yeah, definitely.
Okay.
And this map is probably actually on Anatolia. I think you can win as ISIS. That's the only one. On every single other map, Oasis, March,
Alpine?
Mediterranean, Tundra, etc., Highlands, whatever, I think that ISIS loses. I think on Anatolia you can win.
Right.
This map is probably the worst together with stuff like Savannah, because there is no real winning strategy here. The only thing you can really do here is go for a 7 minute heroic and win water with that, or try to win water with that. You're not guaranteed to win water, but
Right.
it often catches people by surprise. And again, if you're using a strategy which mostly relies on secrecy to succeed, it's not a very good strategy, but sometimes that's your only option. So what I would do is, yeah, I would go for the 7 minute heroic, which
Okay.
he may be doing because he's upping way too late for this to
So
be a Galley rush.
so we're talking about a 7 minute heroic. That's 7 minutes. You're aged up to heroic, right?
And at 7 minutes, you arrive in heroic.
Okay. Um,
I think he's going to do that actually.
you would really need a
Because he's getting
perfect. Sorry to cut you off
when
there,
you get
but
husband.
husbandry, right? Okay. So I just wanted to finish off your point there. For a 7 minute heroic, you really need a perfect build order. You need at least 9 fish, I believe, which it seems like he's got 12 fish, and
You know,
and bet on the other player not taking you off fish early enough and having enough food to go straight heroic. I think here,
he's making some mistakes. Yeah. For example, he's going to the berries. What he should have done is he should have gone to the pigs around his DC, and villagers on chickens should have also gone to pigs around PC, because they get a quicker and you have the super fast drop off without any pathing issues. And on top of that, you can ring the town down to drop everything off at once, and that's how you get to heroic in 7 minutes. You can actually do it even faster, but seven
right?
minutes is fine. Like 7 minutes, 7:10 at the latest, which
Okay.
I don't think you can make it right now.
So hypothetically, say he arrived in heroic at 7 minutes. What would he just cast A&E in his base and player's base and take over the water at that point, or?
Yeah, you need instant A plus E, but you need it outside of vision. Because if he sees the Sphinx, like what he can do is as soon as you reach heroic, you can just cease fire. just like that. Like he doesn't even need to try and get the ceasefire in between the ancestors procedure. He can just ceasefire, and he has like an extra minute, and then you usually lose. But if you get it instantly, then you win water with the siege ships,
Right.
then you can.
Okay, I see what you're
This
saying.
is not a 7 minute heroic, by the way. This is like a 7:30 heroic, which is too late.
Yeah, or
And there's 30
even
seconds, it's even later.
perhaps even 8 minutes. It seems like you.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, no, no, this is not how you. Um,
But again,
this is, yeah,
I'll
this is
have to
all.
admit, even as an ISIS player myself and played ISIS many times, I can tell you right off the bat, to execute a perfect heroic and to arrive at 7 minute heroic on a map like this, it takes practice. You're not going to get it the first time, and you're not even going to get it the fifth or the 10th time. You really, it's really, you got to micromanage your resources early on, and think of it like chess. You really got to think a few moves ahead as to where's your villagers going to gather food after you finish from a certain area, right? You can't you can't think on the spot. You got to think ahead. If you really want to image yourself at a 7 minute heroic time. Obviously, you did mention a few mistakes, the berries and such.
Yeah,
Perhaps,
if he just went to the force, he would have been fine. He had like the perfect map to do this, and he didn't do it.
right. So, um, we don't see a ceasefire, and we do see
No,
that,
because there's no risk. He's up at like almost 8 minutes. There's no space. He's completely walled, and it's yeah. This is not. Oh, gee, oh, this is so bad because he doesn't have the Sphinx with it. You need the Sphinx with it actually.
and player already has two heroes ready to go.
Yeah, but that doesn't actually matter that he has two heroes. It's just like you need to get him off the resources. Because the two heroes won't kill the minions quickly enough, usually.
Right.
Oh wow, he can't find the resources. So see, he has to go inside the DC, and usually he will lose some villages anyway.
Looks like he did lose one bill, two maybe.
Oh,
No.
but he's just too slow, man. Look how slow he is. Like he's in heroic now as well. Like it's just completely pointless at this point.
Right.
Because he did the right strategy, except like a million times too slow. If this was 7 minutes, then this was completely fine. He would have hit before the walls, probably. The Sphinx is still iron, by the way, but I don't think it matters. Then he would have won water,
No. No.
like way before player would
Right.
hit heroic. And then because he would mess up the economy player earlier, his heroic would be later as well. Because now the accuracy hits while he was already going low. So it wasn't delayed by anything. He
No.
just should have up that 7 minutes. He had like more than the perfect map for him. Because sometimes, you're kind of unlucky with finding pigs, or fishing spots are kind of far away, or like, non-existent. But this map was perfect. So like he even found the fish he docked right with his first dock and everything. He had enough pigs. It's just he messed it up. He just played poorly.
So, this is quite interesting. Um, we have a bronze on ships. I haven't seen that in a long time. That's not a thing, is it?
It's fine. Doesn't really matter. Bronze isn't that great. It's fine in ships. I don't know how Ayah is winning water. It's an interesting game.
Um, Definitely interesting, especially because those Skylas are very strong. Um, I feel like maybe A&E on players' base really subconsciously kept him preoccupied with
Maybe.
the A&E, and so in the meantime, even though Ayah wasn't microing his ancestors, he was taking over water in that time.
Yeah, it could be possible too. Also, the APC did some damage, it's not like it didn't do anything.
Right, and already we have Ayah up a huge amount of points.
Yeah,
Um,
he's so far ahead now. It's funny. Like, I don't know what it is doing.
this is very interesting. Now, at the same time, um, you really got to give it to Ayah. He hasn't dropped a single match since the last show match. He beat Moore 3-0, I believe it was, and now he's already
Yeah.
up 1-0. Um, so, player, there, you really need to come up with something special to beat Ayah. You really need to play uh, really hard without mistakes, um, perhaps even flawlessly, to beat Ayah. Ayah has been showing some tremendous skill in these past few games. Although
Yeah, I don't know.
I did not
To
like
say
that
about
mining
this game.
camp earlier, but I did see that Ayah fixed it at the 9 o'clock corner
Yeah,
there.
it's much better now.
I was gonna, I couldn't
Yeah,
help
I
but
saw
keep,
it too. I was like, oh,
yeah, I couldn't help but, moving my screen back to that goal mine. I'm like, okay, when's he gonna fix that? We do have a completed wall. Looks like on both or on that right side almost. I'm not sure why a player would fight these boats. Anyhow, we do have an aggressive Migdal by Ayah.
is there any army at all? No, there isn't. There's the difference on the other side.
So I want to talk a little bit further about strategy right now. Can you tell me what's going through player's head right now, and what does he need to do?
Um, I don't think there's anything you can do. I think it's over because now the push happens. By the way, again, the McDo before the siege workshop. I mean, I get that it's secures that spot, but there's no threat really. And he has like two scorpions, and he has like a McDo tank stealing units. So again, siege workshop should be first because that's the threatening unit, right? The McDo doesn't do anything except secure that spot, and it's near water anyway. So it's like But yeah, I will push now with siege, and that should be it. And I don't think there is a way that player can stop that. He's getting Bacchanalia. It's interesting at the temple.
Um, that seems like an expensive technology to have right now, no?
Yeah, that's so. It's not very efficient in the short term, unless you have a Titan. Actually, even then, because need the Titan to go below 7,000 HP for it to actually get it perfect. So yeah, you're right there. It's not very decent right now. But maybe he had the resources and no other boot slash favor sync could be possible.
That Hydra is really suffering to that Pharaoh, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. I those have a lot of armor. A lot of HP, but not much armor. So you can get through that pretty quickly.
What do you think of making Hydras on a map like Mediterranean? I know a lot of people criticize the Hydra, but Hydra is actually not a bad unit if you have a lot of food, no? To make,
Yeah, it's okay. It's
would
pretty
you?
strong. The problem is that it's just squishy, like it just dies quickly. And on top of that, there's no way to heal it. And it is a unit that kind of gets stronger the more as it kills.
Right.
So, but the issue is that if you've killed a lot of units, you've been in battle, so you've taken damage. So, and they're already squishy. So as soon as you get to like that 4 heads or 5 heads or whatever, and you're probably pretty low with the Hydra, right? So it's like, if there was like a reliable way to deal them, that would be great, but there really isn't. You want to know a tough fact, by the way? So you can stack Hydra heads slash Hydra damage by killing deer. However, you need to kill one extra deer before the scaling happens. So I think it's ooh, I don't want to, just because I don't have a certain. But let's say that it's, for example, 5 units. It's you need to kill 5 units to grow an additional head. If you are if you are trying to grow your heads off of killing deer or like boar or whatever,
Yeah.
then you need to kill one additional deer. So then it would be 6 units. It's interesting.
I guess you could abuse the Hydra that way, right? Just by killing animals.
No, that's not really a big penalty. It's just plus you need plus 1 unit before it starts sticking, and then after that it's the exact same.
Right.
So it's a bit weird, but
Um,
yeah,
this is really hard to deal with right here.
you should not have meteor that, by the way. You should have meteor delayed TC. But details.
Wonder if that TC is even going to go down.
Oh, it didn't go down. That's wow. And it was already low, right? Like it wasn't full HP. It's really rare for it to not go down.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's just kind of random, right? With that God power.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's definitely like
Yeah.
randomness involved. But it's I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen a DC that damage not go down to a meter. Oh well. Anyway.
Well, especially without Masons.
Yeah, yeah, nothing.
Well done to Ayah. He did play really well here, and I have to give credit to the player for doing well defending that Ancestors Eclipse. I did like the walls on both sides of the map, but it looks like the effort wasn't good enough.
I thought it was completely over, to be honest. Like I thought player had already won. And suddenly he loses because there's like a million votes and he has nothing. And I'm like, well, when did this happen? It's not how this matchup works.
Um, yeah, yeah, it was a bit odd. I think he did use ceasefire right after Ancestors Eclipse. Perhaps he should have used ceasefire before Ayah used Ancestors Eclipse. He should have used ceasefire as soon as Ayah reached heroic, and then made some Skylas, right?
I think his ceasefire was fine to not use it because he had everything walled. He was fairly confident there was no strings anywhere near. I think not casting accuracy immediately, especially because it was a fairly late heroic. It was, what was it, 748, I think? Don't remember exactly. So I think that was fine. It's just he did everything right, literally everything.
Yeah.
But then suddenly he doesn't have any goals, and I don't know why. And he loses. I don't know. It was weird. Ah, fuck! I got campaigned. He took maybe too much damage from April. It late with like retreating his villages. Maybe that's the issue. So
So,
see the reverse sweep is the question.
so just to answer some questions in the comments. So yeah, if Ayah wins this third match and makes it 3-0 here, it obviously means that he wins the best out of 5 and he takes $100 for himself, and then player will take $25. We might have to schedule an Ayah versus player match next week. Because it seems like Ayah is just unstoppable.
Ayah versus Titan.
You mean Ayah versus Magic?
Yeah,
Versus Arena.
like can anybody stop Ayah or what's happening here? I'm going to be 2 minutes. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and it looks like we're on to match number 3. Saturn. 3D turns.
4.4%? Is that what you want me to do another one, or just
For what?
cash and cursive? Buy.
4% is fine. Change that on 4,
Yeah?
because nobody's been opening, right?
No. But the title, it won't allow the title anymore.
Lorenzo, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm still there.
Okay, so it seems like we're back to Ouranos versus Zeus as we had in that match number one, but probably a different map, and we do get a different map. We're on Ghost Lake. It seems like a two gold mine Ghost Lake. Ayah playing Ouranos this time. Keep in mind, this is no patch. The ESO, this is the latest ESO patch. And we got Ayah playing Ouranos on the left in blue. And in red, we have player in red playing as Zeus. So obviously, the two gold mine variation can promote more of a defensive play, variations. Um, we already know where all the town centers are on this map, and so to me, it seems like we don't know enough. But to me, that seems like the second TC could be problematic as it's behind a bunch of trees, so it's a bit isolated. Um, for Ayah, speaking about Ayah on the 9 o'clock corner there, Ayah does have a third TC. We don't know if there's any gold mines or anything like that yet. Right now, it's just a sheep war, so they're just basically scouting the map for sheep at this point and working on their early game. Uh, Lorenzo, so can you tell us now, since that we have a two gold mine map, does this change anything for Ouranos versus Zeus, or are we still going to be expecting uh, Hermes by the Zeus player?
It's still Hermes, but this is much better for Zeus than for Ouranos to have the two gold ones. Also, it's goats. Sheep is AoE too.
Goats, right? Okay.
Yeah,
Um,
small nitpick.
so, so obviously this is a different map from Marsh. Uh, Marsh was a higher food map. Well, and since this is a two gold mine, but low hunt, would you say this changes things up for the Ouranos player? Can we expect, what could we expect differently from the Ouranos player this time?
He's going for a 6 citizen classical,
Right.
which I think he also did on March. March, actually. But on March, I do think he got hunting dogs with it. Because he went up at like 402.
Right.
Which is the classical timing for doing like an HD start with 6 citizens. Here he's just going to go for 6 citizens without hunting dogs. So it's going to be 355 at the fastest. I think you can get 354, I'm not sure. But it's somewhere right before 4 minutes.
Okay, so if it's a six citizen classical, does that mean he's going to build his economic guild on his way to classical?
I think he is not going to build it at all in the beginning of the game. I think it's going to be added on later.
Okay, so
I
what?
could be wrong though. I'm not sure.
Right. So what does that tell us about the Ouranos player? Does that mean he wants to play aggressive, or?
I think it's the nature of the map.
Okay.
So I think he started with one Aurochs. I think maybe he didn't even start with a line of sight. Actually, no, I think he did because of the niche range. Like it wouldn't be able to die there. Yeah, so he started with one Aurochs and line of sight. The issue is if you don't have any additional hunt nearby, which he didn't know at the beginning. Because at the beginning you need to decide immediately echo kill or no echo kill, right?
Right.
We are the problem is if you have only one Aurochs, then you can't up comfortably at 430.
Ouch. So we did see the early Veiler there. I'm not sure if those oracles are going to do anything. Are they gonna?
I mean, this shockwave is the worst thing I've seen since since what?
You think so?
I
Yeah,
think it's the worst thing I've seen since the Netflix reboot of Death Note with real people.
you think?
I think, yeah, that was absolutely.
Was that a movie?
Death Note was an anime, a really good
Oh
one. But
yes,
then
yeah, I watched it. Yeah,
Netflix made one with real people, and
gotcha,
it's
gotcha.
the
Okay,
worst thing if you don't count the chocolate. So,
right, right. Okay.
is he
Um,
gonna steal the goats? Surely he isn't.
I hope he doesn't steal those goats. You know, in age two, it looks like he's walking away with the goats.
Yeah, he is. Wow, that's yeah.
I've never seen that. Have you ever seen that happen before? I haven't.
No, I haven't actually.
So is there a first for everything then, or?
In H2 they call it laming.
Oh yeah, in age two you'd never see this. On age two, even if you find your opponent's goats or sheep, I guess it would be called there, you'd send them back to your opponent as more of like a good gesture.
Mercy.
Generally, people do that, but it's not considered particularly bad manner to not do that, which is where I think H2 differs in
Right, but you never see that in
loyalty.
Age of Mythology whatsoever. Like if you,
No, I've never quite seen this. It's yeah,
I mean,
wow.
if you stole your opponent's sheep, you wouldn't send it back to him, would you?
Oh no, I would not have
Right.
sent it back. Definitely not. In fact, I would probably have typed something inflammatory in chat to make sure that he feels bad about it. So
And I guess for better wording, I shouldn't say stole, but if you scouted your opponent's sheep in age two, normally from the expert games I've watched, they always send them back to to their opponent. So that's
yeah, they do. They do.
I guess that's a different gameplay type manners between the two games. Anyhow,
The thing is, it's much easier to steal them in H2 though, especially if you're Celts or Celts if you're from that one specific area in what is it you say?
right?
Boston, is it Boston? I don't even know. They say Celts, even though you should say Celts. Celts
Um,
are Celtic, not Celtic.
I call them
The world
salts.
needs to know. The world needs to know that it's incorrect to say Celtic.
I've always pronounced it salts. I never really thought about it too much.
It's
As
because of the football club, I think.
so
Like they call themselves Celts, but it is you're supposed to say Celts,
r-
like Celtic.
right, right, okay,
Like Celtic is verifiably incorrect. Like there's no other way around it. It's not like a difference between accents. No, it's just incorrect.
gotcha. Okay,
It's
well, next time I'll play that civilization. We'll keep that in mind.
because they have the bonus, right? That if there's it's wordedly with you. It's like
Yeah, if there's one
if
Celtic unit, I believe it's only the unique
yeah,
unit.
it's something like that. Yeah.
If there's one Celtic, well, I don't think that's ever taken effect for any s- important situation. That's never been a game changer from the games that I've watched.
I've never
Basically,
seen it either.
basically the wording goes, if I remember correctly, if you have one Celtic unit in the line of sight of a sheep, then it's never converted, regardless of how many other units there are in
Yeah,
that
but
line of sight.
apparently how the bonus works is you can also convert enemy units with just one Celtic unit in line of sight, even if there are multiple units. So it's not just that their own sheep are not converted by the enemy if there's only one, but they also convert enemy sheep to them
Oh, I
as
see.
well.
I see. I've never
That's
seen
how I
that.
think it is, but I'm not sure.
Okay. I've never seen that in play personally, but I'll definitely look into it. So I wanted to ask, what did you think of the shockwave that just happened here? Was that beneficial for Aya?
Yeah, yeah, it was alright.
It
It's yeah,
seemed like
it was
Aya
fine.
could have won this battle anyway without the shockwave.
I mean, yeah, but you have three shockwaves, and
He's already
the
used
thing
to.
is, yeah, the problem is if you save if you save your shockwave like too long, then you will have the third shockwave not be useful because it's at the point in the game where units like losing a few extra units doesn't really matter because economies are bigger, so units are more expandable, etc., etc. So using your shockwaves early is pretty good. So I would say that was okay for a shockwave
Okay.
because you don't want to be that guy who plays like an adventure game and you save all of your items because you may need them later, and then at the end of the game and you defeated the final boss, you have like 99 of everything and you never use them because you may need them later. Like that's like the shockwave thing
I see.
if you save it for too long.
Gotcha. Um, I want to mention a core characteristic in this game difference between our first match that we saw on March is that I had built a second TC right around the 9:30 mark. So I'd say 2 minutes after, 2 minutes later than he did in match number one. So is that going to affect his economy? It seems like player might have a better chance, say if he built his second TC after a minute from now. Um, Player wouldn't be so behind as he was in match number one where I built his second TC very early.
Yeah. Interestingly, I thought that player has an advantage, like really early on, just because of the mark. Like before anything happened, that like before the 4 minute mark, I was like, oh, player has an advantage in terms of knock. But the way it played out, it seems like it's fairly equalish right now, and I would say that I probably has an advantage because he has two TCs, right? So that's fine. No specific reason aside from him having two TCs. So yeah, there's actually the mithril horseshoes around over there. Should probably be picked up by either one of them. Like obviously Ouranos doesn't really benefit from it unless they make Gotaris. But if you get it as Ouranos, you take it away from the Zeus. So that's also some value that you can get there.
That is an awesome relic. So can
Yeah,
you
it's really
just
good, especially with the centaurs. Because
he,
the
yeah?
centaurs are slowed down to the Hippicon speed.
So
But if the Hippicons get the mithril horseshoes, then the centaurs speed up too when you move them together. So
okay, it doesn't affect centaurs though. It just affects the hippocon.
no, no, it doesn't affect the centaurs, but
Okay.
the way units are moved, like if you
Yeah.
manipulate Loki and you have like an Einherjar in your army,
Yeah.
you try to move everything at once, like everything slows down to the slowest units that you
Yeah.
have grouped as you issue the movement.
I just wanted to mention a very important development. So you see that raiding party, that centaur and four hippocon there at the bottom. He just killed two of Aya's citizens there because Aya wasn't
That's
paying
really
attention.
good. Yeah.
So that is very critical. Wouldn't you say?
Oh yeah, definitely, especially because he's been having some idle PC time before he got popped. Like right now he's popped, but
Yeah.
before that he had his PCs at 0%.
It seems
He was
like
at a
though
big
Aya is
point.
doing a huge number on players' economy there in the back. I'm not sure.
This is a lot of damage. This is insane damage.
I'm I'm
Seize is probably a bit too late, I would say.
I'm not sure how many villagers player lost there. I'd have to check it out. Let me take
Screenshot. I'm gonna check as well.
it. It doesn't. I'm not seeing. Maybe one. I don't really see anything.
That was quite brutal. Yeah.
It looked pretty devastating, but I'm not so sure how many villas he lost. Probably one, to be honest, or maybe
I
none.
mean, he lost some, but he was also producing some. So it's the post game statistics aren't as
Okay.
reliable.
Um, I wanted to mention we do have 6 Prometheans. Is that unusual? To me, it seems very unusual to see that many Prometheans on the field.
Mm, it's a bit unusual. Yeah.
I mean, what do you do with 6 Prometheans?
Well, I would ask you, what do you do with excess favor? Classical.
I suppose because he got a second TC. You know, um, I just want to change the topic here for just a quick second. Um, so he's popped again as he's on his way to heroic. Is this the correct way in playing Ouranos? I feel like he's done this consecutively between match number one and this match here, where he's popped and he's not producing villagers for a good 2 to 3 minutes between two TCs.
Yeah, so ideally you turn off military auto queue before you get popped, so you can make like two villages, maybe three.
Well, that's what
I
I'm
think
saying.
if you leave any more space, it's gonna get too sketchy. But if you leave like six-ish population, for that's two sixes, like that's fine, that's okay. And then if there's nothing going on and your island is kind of useless, you can force a trade, and then you can make maybe if you lose like 3 units, that's two more sixes. That's something you can do. But yeah, it's a bit sloppy. You shouldn't be doing that. Yeah.
Right. Um, so about the favor thing that we mentioned earlier, wouldn't it be better to maybe make additional Cephalian birds instead of the extra Prometheans with the favor?
Yeah, I think it's better to just
Ouch.
that's a nice shockwave. It's quite neutral.
Ouch. Man, Shockwave really wins games.
I mean, it's brutal, right? It's amazing. That's why it got nerfed a million times in different patches. Yeah, I think I would have made Prometheans, obviously, but not as many. I think I would have just banked the gold and favored for other stuff, such as Titan, which is
I guess it's two different playstyles, right? Some Ouranos players like to spend all their favor as soon as they get it, whereas others
I think
like.
he just forgot. I think we're giving him too much credit. Not that he's a bad player, but I think he just forgot like the outro stuff.
Right, okay. Um,
That's what I think.
do you think maybe player got a little bit greedy with that third TC there?
I mean, it's okay. He kind of had to get that as a second DC because it's so far forward, unless he's not going to get it later. Then
Right.
it will get 4 versus 2 TCs. But now he is kind of playing the price. This is good play by Ayah, though. Can't believe nobody's getting these relics. These are pretty relevant relics. Meter of Horseshoes is relevant, and Pandora's Box is also relevant. None of them are getting them.
Oh yeah,
I hope they both spotted them.
I'm not entirely sure why that is.
I think they just forget. I don't think there's a reason aside from, forgetting slash not noticing.
So there it is for player. He did fall on match number 3 in this series, and Ayah, a big congratulations. He did win. This is his second show match win. Uh, it was a sweep, and it was a sweep in the last show match. We could expect Ayah to play again next Sunday, but this time we'll get an opponent, a different opponent this next week. We'll have to wait and see who it is. But really impressed with Ayah's play, and I think Ayah has been really taking over the scene lately.
Yeah, that was pretty good play. I was impressed by some of his games here.
Yeah. So not much complaints there. Big congratulations to Ayah. Obviously, we've seen him play ISIS. We've seen him play Ouranos. So he is quite diverse in his different gods. And we did see him play Ra as well. So very impressed with that. So until next week, we will see you guys. I will upload this to YouTube as usual. And I appreciate everybody watching, and I appreciate Lorenzo, you commentating this alongside myself.
Welcome on. It's fine.
And again, thanks everybody for watching, subscribe, and all that stuff. And
Yeah, thanks, guys.
I do stream during the week, so look out for that. And we will host another show match next week on Sunday. So take care.
Interesting game.